Guten Tag Kinder, ich bin Airsoft in CT, and today we're going to talk about the helmets that I use for my KSK impression kits, the MSA TC APH. The MSA TC APH is a helmet system that has been used by multiple European forces, including the Danish, French, and Germans. However, these aren't typically issued to standard forces. Usually, the EGB or the KSK would be the ones who have used these, although you will see other units such as the Kampfreiter with these as well. Now, as you can see, I have a couple different options here, so let's start with the one that I think is the prettiest over here. This MSA TC APH was actually the first original one that I purchased. I purchased this off of a person who served in the French Foreign Legion in Mali for about 250 euros, which by today's standards especially, that's a great deal. Nowadays, when you pay for these, you'll end up paying around 300 to 600 euros, almost at least at that point. On this helmet, I have an MSA TC APH Lucy mount, an MS2000 strobe, and the Surefire HL helmet light right there. On the inside, I have a standard MSA pad set, as well as an OpsCore H-nape. The paint job that I did on this helmet is one that I kind of was inspired by a real KSK operator's paint job. I decided to do kind of almost a tiger stripe look. On this side, it is somewhat rounded. You can see where kind of the fangs come out on this side, but it is a color scheme that involves tan, green, and brown, which are some of the most common colors you'll see in paint jobs. These helmets are extremely light and have a level 2 ballistic rating. On the inside of all of the MSA TC APH helmets, you'll see a covered up area down here. Now, mine kind of ripped off, but you do see the MSA Gallet logo here. For the Bundeswehr, these are called the Gefechtshelm Leicht, which literally translates to combat helmet light. Now let's take a look at the other MSA TC APH I own. This one, I was lucky enough to find because it is not only a German issued one, but I picked this up for 150 euros. There's a reason for that. There's a reason it kind of sat around on the market. Well, number one, because it was not labeled correctly. This person had it labeled as some other kind of combat helmet. And I was able to tell by the ear shaping, which we'll get to in a minute, but also because the previous owner made some drill holes on the front for his night vision mount and whatnot. So I was able to kind of fill those in and patch those up. It does require a little bit more work, but the ballistic integrity of this helmet is not one that I would necessarily trust, mainly because of those like deformations, I guess. Nevertheless, this is the standard green color that the MSA TC APH comes in for almost any country. For some of the Danish and French ones, you will see black. However, deep down, they're all really green inside. This one has a darker green rubber trim, which is the same on my other APH, but that one's just painted over. But this is what you'll kind of be seeing with them. In it again, I have my standard MSA pads, as well as a couple of the custom stickers that I have made to replicate the ones that the German Bundeswehr would put on their APHs. Now, the reason that I know that this one was an issued set is because right where I put the stickers, there was some previous residue that matched all the dimensions I had, so I was able to kind of infer that this was an issued helmet. Now, one of the mistakes that maybe you used to see, maybe not so much anymore, was that a lot of impression guys would end up using a Mitch 2001. I mean, hell, I did it. I had a Mitch 2001 style helmet that I was like, oh, this looks just like the APH. There are a couple major differences between the ACH and the APH. The first that is most noticeable between the ACH, the 2001 version, and the MSA TC APH is that it has this ear cutout here. Now, as you can see, while it does kind of go upwards, it's not nearly as pronounced. The 2001s would have a much deeper cut to allow for that hearing protection, whereas this one, while it does still take hearing protection underneath, the cut is not nearly as deep. As you can see, the ears swell out just a little bit on this APH, which is not seen on the 2001. The other thing that is different is the overall profile. The APH is based off of a Pasget style helmet, so the overall profile is slightly shorter than that of an ACH. I do not have an ACH, unfortunately, here to show you side by side, so just trust me on that, but it is kind of an awkward look with the APH and the ACH side by side. Now, lucky for you, you might not have to reproduce your own APH or find one on the secondary market. There is another option that the Bundeswehr has used, particularly KSK members, even in the 2010 to 2013 era, and that is the MSA TC 3000. And maybe I was joking with you there by saying luckily, because that helmet is kind of harder to find sometimes. I know of a few floating around. One of my good buddies, Mike Fralish, actually just picked up a beautifully mint one, but that's a whole other story. Those are kind of difficult to find, but if you can run those, and those are acceptable options. With the 2010 to 2013 KSK kit though, these are the vast majority of what you'll see, so I highly encourage you to look for one of these or begin reproducing your own. And if you don't want to do either of those options, there is an eBay seller who will convert Pasget helmets to high cuts. He has done an APH style replica before for one of our members, so I would reach out to him and see if he'll do another one for you if you send him in a Pasget helmet. So as always, this is Airsoft in CT. Thanks for watching, protect your noggin, and we'll see you in the next one.